We are back at it for King of the Hill on steroids. Well, it's actually King of the Hole, not a hill. When the devs join and help host a massive 40-player game, you know it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's what we've got for you. Or in some players' opinion, it's like, hey, this is going to be fun, isn't it? No, welcome to hell. As always, a quick intro to King of the Hill. There's a 10-minute no rush timer. You can't use any structures to attack directly into opponent's base. And just to quickly draw on the map, here we go. There's a line around the top of the cliffs there that no one is allowed to cross. And quick but massive shout out to Nightmare and Flow Devs mod for joining in and making this fun happen. And another to my co-commentator, Pradith. Let's go.
Well, the exciting things for me about this set of matches was that I got to play in the hole in the first game, and now I'm playing on the Peasants team for the second one. So I get to experience the hell that I wrought on everyone in the first game.
Yeah, but we did lose that. I felt like our lane won that, but then...
One of the nice things about these big matches, because we did a couple on Throne, we did a couple here... Looking back, the only reason I know who won and lost is because of the replay tab that we were just looking at. I was having such a good time doing these ones. I actually thought I won them all, but I didn't. Oh dear.
There's a little widget. If you guys haven't set that up, it's just over in the where is it? Settings, custom, and then you can turn your widgets on, and that's how you can put an image into the file location needed. There's a few videos or how-tos on the bar website if you want to put widgets in the background of your replays or in your games. It's only from your perspective though, other players can't see that. Unless of course they're watching your replays like you are for us.
Having a look inside the crater, we've got Tank Tom leading the Kings, starting with a reasonably conservative start. Going into builders, getting some reclaim bots, just grabbing as much of those large crystals as possible, funding the eco with that. One of the interesting things about this map is just how far out all of your mexes are. Yep, there's a lot of metal for you to get, but you actually have to venture quite deep in order to get it.
You can see one of our regulars, Duffy, is here as well, definitely. Probably the most prominent king that we ever get in King of the Hill. He's always ready to jump in the hill or the hole and be the king. It's definitely fun to test your micro. Good training being a king because you're up against multiple players, so APM to the max.
Most players tend to favor wanting to be peasants, but so it's always great to get a regular king. And then having a look around the outside, Twig and myself have decided to do some communist eco, try and get as much as we possibly can going in this little corner.
And a little bit around the sides. Looks like the usual going on in that corner there, just everyone building up nicely. Maybe we're the only communists in this game.
Does in fact look like it, but with this many people on, it's sort of hard to coordinate anything different to that.
A few people going to T2 a little bit early. Maybe that's a little bit of inexperience with the game. You want to make sure that you've definitely got like around that plus 20 metal or more coming in before going into T2. Even one of the kings going into T2 very early. And that's stalling them. So what you want to do though in this case is just reclaim that T1 lab, feed the metal into the T2 lab, and as a king as well you're going to get the bonus, which these guys have. I forgot to mention the 45% bonus down in the hole. So you'd reclaim the standard, what's it worth, 740 metal plus that extra 45%. You're going to get an extra 400 300 plus metal.
Just seeing a handful of pings. Someone's not overly happy about a grave robber trying to steal some of the metal from the king.
All sorted though. Can't miss those pings. Most annoying part of the game, but they're very important too.
And just having a look at everything else going on. One of the things that could have happened here, we noticed that there's actually quite a lot of T2 labs going down at the moment. There are 5 T2 labs currently being built. One of the best things that you can try and do as a king is coordinate with the person next to you and just start with one T2 lab to share. See exactly how that one goes. We've even managed to achieve that on Claymore, which has the kings fully separated. using the T1 lab, using two T1 labs to fund someone getting T2, getting their builder, then sending metal back, and everyone ended up with a pretty fast T2. But that was even more of a coordination effort than could be done down here.
Yeah, that was headed by Regeki, who's one of the best players in the world. So
I mean,
I don't
look,
have the
I didn't
brain
really have
for
to do anything there. He just told me what to do, and I did it.
it. Yeah, the more we play these King of the Hills, the more and more little tactics we see, and the metas change all the time. So jump on in; these are real fun, and especially when these. Hopefully, we can get more of these big ones going. Jump on the Discord. The link's down in the description below, and you're more than welcome. We send out alerts to those who want them. When you join the Discord, there's a little prompt to pick what notifications you want out of games that we host, and this is one of them, of course. T2 well underway now down in the middle as we approach 5 minutes and 50 seconds.
And tier 2 on the way. Tier 2 coming out for myself and Twig as well. Similar sort of things happening around the map for the peasants. Getting not a lot of early tier 2, but a couple of them coming up now.
Yeah. The colours are really playing around when you get this many players in the lobby and you select things. Everything changes different colours.
It's almost like it's not designed to have this many people in one team.
Yeah. What I've done is just simply use one constructor and my commander for build power to build that wind up and feed Praedyth into having a T2 lab. Hopefully, we're hoping as fast as a Soul King that doesn't do communism in the middle. And I think we do match that roughly. And once he's at that point of having an excess of metal, you can see at the top of the screen if I select his player there, and plenty of energy, I've just gone into getting enough up so that I can just afford my own T1, giving him the mexes and just surviving off of the conversion myself.
This is one of the areas where I think I certainly could have improved here. I should have converted my T2. I should have had more build power available and converted my T2 lab into a fusion, then built it back. But I just leave it here doing nothing, which is just metal sitting and wasting.
Yeah, and definitely
So
had the
bit of a
time as well.
mistake
So
there.
that was from about 6.5 minutes. We find that if you've got maybe I'd say about 5, 6 construction turrets, maybe a bit more, maybe up to 8 in one of these games, only takes probably until the 8.5 minute mark to then convert the T2 into a fusion and 2 converters, and then build the T2 lab again after that, and you'll have it by the 9 minute mark, and that gives you a minute of producing, probably in your instance, a bunch of fiends because you love them.
I mean, look, they're just good for the first part of the game, because if you have to defend against a large rush of things, they're quite good against that.
Great
And if
against the
not, then
spam as well.
they can be turned on the offense, and they don't do too badly against a lot of other tactics available, like a Sheldon Ball with a radar jammer. They tend to be able to run up on that anyway.
Yeah. One thing I just want to point out as well for those like the King of the Hill, especially on Claymore, where you have usually 2 peasants versus 1 king. The 2 peasants, what they can do, one of them will go T2 and the other will stay T1 and focus on spam. But what you do is, what's happened here is, Prey gave me a T2 constructor. I just popped it on the first one, gave it a little tap, and then kept walking it onto the second one, put the commander on one of them, and then my construction bolt on the other, and then I handed the construction T2 constructor off to this player here. So that's another player in the map that didn't have T2 that now has T2, just as a result of, yeah, just a little bit of micro with your eco macro.
Yeah, looking at what I've done, definitely did not make use of the 2-person eco anywhere near enough. Just by sitting on that without the build power, I'm sitting at 1300 metal, which is just really bad. Build power only just coming down now at 9 minutes. Should have been up at 6.
Yeah. So possibly the other way to deal with that is, if you're Armada, just build a bunch of butlers and get a whole bunch of wind going as well, as soon as you get the T2 up, and then that way you can start building units on the wind at the same time until the metal runs out, and then you just focus on the wind up until that 9 minute mark. Down to our last minute, looking in the middle, have we got any decent T2 eco? We've got fusion up for Duffy. A couple of fusions going to be
2
up
fusions.
for...
2 fusions for one of the kings. Yep.
Yo Kani. Suyo Kani. I think that's Japanese.
We've got first fusion coming down for Bear Slayer. with those 9 advanced solars. Those are very reclaimable into that fusion, but considering it's coming down with 15 seconds to go, this is going to be quite a rough. The Kings are going to be in quite a rough spot without eco. Based on the amount of metal they all had, they all should easily have been on a fusion by the 9-minute mark.
Yeah, I see a bunch of advanced solars here. That's enough to be have the fusion. I mean, this player's doesn't have the build power for this either. They could be reclaiming some of the advanced solars with more build power. And yeah, 10 minutes has passed, so let's check out the action. Hopefully we can cover as much as possible. First action on the right hand side, we see a ton of ticks come down from this player here. Ask, I'm not going to refer to colours because myself and Prey probably they both have different colours on separate screens.
Most certainly we do. We've also got Duffy that's headed up and is about to take a comm.
That's it. I think I'm a little ahead of you.
We're right on time with each other.
Beans do to clean up these ticks, but there's just too many and they get through, and Tank Tom's base is slowly getting dismantled. Good work targeting those converters, but getting cleaned up with not too much loss.
Tried to get Fiends in myself, but they were cleaned up nicely by the Zars.
2 SARs. I mean, SARs are great. Don't love them in big open maps because you can use spy bots against them. Hint, hint, what's about to come.
I mean, also they just take a while to get around the place. More units coming into Tank Tom's base, but nicely cleaned up with little to no damage. Tank Tom did degun a couple of his own wins, but in his own words, better to do that than to let the units through, and I agree with that completely.
Looks like most of the peasants units are now outside of the crater. Only pushing happening probably to no avail on the right hand side with only a few ticks coming through, but a bit more happening over here. I see a bunch of beamers going up. I'd rather that metal go into units, and you can see this player has bottomed out metal. Going into a second tier 1 lap here and then going into beamers. I'd just be putting this into Jaguars. If this all went into Jaguars, I mean, they're building Jaguars, they're doing the right thing, but just click them out, drag a line, and you won't get any more ticks coming through.
Definitely a tough lesson for some of the Kings to learn. The name of the game in this is aggression. If we look at what Duffy's doing, he's just been pushing up in there, and we see the pink player has also just tried to bum rush through the defensive lines.
Yeah. Chronographer's just been attacked by a ton of grunts. You can see these scorpions though, when the grunts are bunched up, about 5 of them are popping at a time.
Looking at the bottom of the ramp, I noticed that attack and decided instead of going for my player, I would go for this king, try to clear him up and take the pressure off, because I did see Chrono falling, and I decided that if Chrono's falling, we should make sure that attack stops. Getting these handful of units in, taking the conversion, taking the wind is a huge. Even though this is, it's only the front mexes, but it was the production capability. It was all the spam, and it was all of the additional little bits of income. So even though there are the 2 fusions up, that's all that he's left with, and it did stop the attack, and it did prevent Chrono from falling, which I think is one of the things you have to look out for as a peasant. You have to try and keep your allies alive.
Alright, Chrono's icon's actually working in this one there. Coordinator, nice. Been testing out these widgets.
He put that in there himself, didn't he?
No, I asked him if he wanted it. Yeah, so Chronographer and Wineera, 2 of our coordinators that host lobbies when we're not available, and Wineera doing them in the European time zone. So those players that want to play co-op.
Just having a look, a couple of ticks have just,
Nicely done.
Very nice. Do get cleaned up, but great little bit of taking out.
Alright, where else are we around the map? Nice little push up here against Duffy with these hounds, but I don't think that's going to get too far.
Considering that the damage is done, it's a great job for the peasants managing to keep everybody, managing to push their way back down and stopping Duffy from pushing out. He's up to his 3rd fusion, so he's got plenty of production going, but he's currently building the wrong things, getting a lot of grave robbers instead of units to defend that hound push. Does look like Tank Tom, though, has got the units to clean that up. Now it does look like it is revenge from Chrono's entry. Bunch of snipers coming down, backed up by hounds. hounds backed up by snipers, I guess you could say. A series of welders and pounders to keep them all safe.
I love the welders. They're just such a bulky unit, and I think even against the lightning tanks,
just
the
to
JUGGS
interrupt
do
you,
alright.
looking down at our entrance, about to see some foreshadowing come true. So one of the things...
There you go, mate.
Spybot's absolutely fantastic in this situation. This is way too much for the kings to do, sorry, for the peasants to deal with, but a couple of Spybots going in with big EMPs and backed up by a handful of fiends, and this entire push is blunted in with almost no losses. A little bit of bad micro by me. I should have been filtering these units through more for the surround bonus, but even still, the DPS of the fiends easily going to clean this up with minimal losses. Such a harsh thing for the kings to feel. That's so much metal going down. That was 2 Zars and I think 5 banishes, which is 9,000 metal. That's an Aphis right there, taken out because of 2 Spybots.
Yeah, and instead, it's not just a loss of all that metal for that player, it's also a donation of half that amount. It was about 4,500 metal to the man Melvin, who's reclaiming it right now, is with his commander.
Push is happening on both sides of the kings at the moment. The snipers are still pushing in pushing into the king's base. Sorry about that. I'm way too worried about massacring your name to attempt it. Tank Tom doing what the kings need to do and trying to help defend that from all angles. But while this is happening, a similar push is happening at the top. Snipers, 12 snipers with welders in front and spam giving them vision, just plinking away and dealing that damage.
The way to deal with this is spam. So in both instances we've got thugs and bulls up against snipers, and on the other side we had cans and Shivas. Shiva's terrible against snipers, so you need to get spam in there too.
Yes, wrong. It is definitely a case of the wrong units countering here. The most effective thing to do against snipers is just tick spam. Just absolute tick spam the ever-living anything out of them, then back them up with some sort of range unit to try and take out things like the smuggler and then the sharpshooters themselves. And considering that all of the defensive units are being taken out, all of the welders, all of the pounders on the front line taken out, you really can get in there with a lot. There's a couple of lines of ticks would do absolutely great, but without that, it's just these heavier tier 2 units or thugs in the case of the top of the map trying to defend against the snipers that are one-shotting them.
And there goes the commander. I just caught that. And what's the answer? Doesn't look
in this situation, it's just spam.
Yeah.
Just spam units out. You don't need thugs because they die in one shot to the snipers. You need grunts. Cheapest thing that you have.
That is this player's answer. It's thugs, and it's just a bit too expensive. So for every thug you get out, pushing the wrong button. For every thug you get out, you could be getting out about 5 grunts.
Is that really the conversion? 140 to 36. So it's about 4 grunts to not too far off. 4 to 5 grunts. Yeah, damn.
Yeah, four units to take a hit from a sniper, and then that gives you the time to fire that in with your balls that you've got here and take them out. And there's no real stuff until now. There was no spam in front of that, so the time has passed to take out those snipers in that lane.
With all of the spam in front, the snipers are free to just move up and keep taking their shots. These snipers over here up to 70 kills already.
Couple of fiends going down in the bottom left. We haven't been paying much attention there because there was quite a good defense. But yeah, just a few too many fiends running down and getting through. One fusion going down, and Tom's comm, did I just see it go down in the corner of my eye?
Tom took a very, very big hit while we were looking at that top side. I swung around with fiends, backed up by the snipers into his base. That was quite the nasty hit to take.
Pot's got one fiend right into the middle of the base. He's trying to find what is going on. Where's a juicy target?
So much damage done by that one fiend. If only he could get the build power, but does get eaten.
The right answer there. Tom, just the remnants of the widget on the ground there. Still no spam on this side of the map, so
Yeah, the Kings fell too far behind in eco at the start, and then they're getting the heavy hitting units, but that extra eco they're missing could be spam, which is what's really doing them in.
I like what's happening here. We've got AI Easy. It's not an AI. Walking in with their commander, so almost in that range. Just pressing space X, you can see the explosion radius just around the edge there. So as soon as they get a little bit closer, that's going to be enough to take out that economy. Just short of it.
Oh,
Just short of doing the. If we got that ring
so
just over the
close.
conversions, those converters would have been enough to explode and probably take out those fusions as well, and maybe a bit of that build power with the explosion radius.
We love a good bit of tactic like that. Again, because there's no spams circling the middle crater, no ability to detect that comm till it's right inside the base, so a opportunity seen and tried to be taken but didn't quite make it through.
Another comm up in the top left of the map, coming straight into the middle of the base, trying to get some nice damage done. Not really heading to where the eco is. They probably think right in the middle of the map's where the eco. Well, this is interesting. What's this? Infinite resources.
I feel so. At this point,
Spybot going off down south there.
Some of the community managers were watching the stream, and they decided to give the Kings a bit of a hand. So they have flooded their side with resources. If you have a quick look at the resources chart, it's currently 1.45 million metal per second for the Kings team.
You can just
which
see
is
it completely
just
swayed.
a little bit.
Swayed in the other direction. It was about
Yes.
100% ahead for the peasants, and now it's infinite.
Now it's not even a competition, but with all the build power going down, unfortunately, they don't seem to be able to take advantage of the of that extra those extra resources.
I think I know one way they can potentially come back from this.
Oh, I mean, look, they should just build 100 jugs.
Yeah, that would go alright.
I've got the resources for it.
Maybe some Titans first? What's this?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, look, Duffy's built a bunch of Titans around to help defend the infinite resource Aphis.
It was good fun to see this. Everyone's like, where did this come from? The power of the developer.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is all the work of our hero King Duffy.
But I still don't think there's enough. There's just too many units, like the army value. It's pretty even now, actually, the army value, but it's all in just a handful of units.
Yeah, it's in a couple of Titans, and the last holdout WWW007 is getting absolutely hammered right now in the bottom side of the map, doing his best to defend with that tier 1, but the grunt and fiend spam heading on through and just absolutely devastating those defenses. Units out of place because they were going to defend on the other side, and thankfully though the comm is not taken out.
Yeah,
But
nicely
more and
done.
more
Very
spam
strong
heading
triangle down this side here.
did a great job, and it's something which is which I would just note as being very interesting. There was a small issue on this side with defensive buildings capable of hitting the structures. The defensive building was built after the structures were built, and so that's the difference between if the defense had been built and then the structure was built in range of it. Sort of hard to police in this size game, though. We've just seen one of the last players, in fact the last major eco center, taken out for the Kings players.
Infinite resources gone, so now the other team's 1000% ahead in eco. There's just a few wins left behind.
I still think the Kings should just swap it entirely over to jug production. If they have 100 jugs, I bet they'd be able to take out the peasants.
That would be alright.
Definitely would be quite the good, but the peasants really
commander left. Oh, what's
gotta
this?
defend that commander. What's this?
That is just insane. I gotta get a screen grab of this for the thumbnail.
What's this? Duffy's managed to get himself 100 juggernauts?
That's
How has he built them with such a small eco?
We do thank the devs for jumping in on this one, made it very fun.
Yes, unfortunately, as we said early on, the Kings were never able to fully utilize that early 10 minutes to get to get those early fusions running, and that slow start to their eco made them always just that little bit short on units, so unable to completely take over the map. But now with 100 jugs on their team, let's see exactly how much of a fight this will turn into. Got to keep Powerful Pizza alive, otherwise all those jugs will count for nothing. And with snipers and spam heading on towards Powerful Pizza, it could be quite a difficult win even for the 100 jugs.
Well, they have a counter intrusion system here. That's probably one way to get through. I don't think I see one.
Though even then you'll have to wait until the jugs split up enough that you can sneak one past. And even then you'd need quite a lot. Oh no, actually you could get rolling bomb. You could get the rolling bombs through, couldn't you?
Yeah, there's no radar anymore either.
Yeah, just need a bunch of scuttles to head on for the comm. That would have been quite a smart build for us, but I don't think we thought of it. We were just trying to take out the jugs.
Best way to do that is with the 20 commanders left on the map.
Got to use those D guns effectively, but comms are falling as they attempt to get these D guns. They have to trade at a rate of 5 to 1 if they want to kill all the jugs.
92 left. I'm sitting there. I'm pretty sure I had no energy from memory at this stage, so I just had to stay still. You only use up.
I believe I flushed you an Aphis. Oh, sorry, I believe I flushed you a fusion at some point.
Potentially, I think it was like 10 seconds too late from memory. We'll see. I can't remember actually how this went. I think I got maybe one. You can see there I just got no energy. So 300 energy per second for a commander to just sit there stationary, 1,000 per second. You can see I'm only on 800 energy a second there, so not able to move my comm. There
we go, you've got the fusion.
Get on walking.
In a half decent position, got to get as many of those D guns as possible. Remember, jugs do detonate themselves like. There we go. Only got the one D gun off, but that is 2 jugs down. But many of them getting up and out into the peasants' lanes. Great D guns coming out from the top lane, taking out a bunch of those jugs. But comms are falling down to 13 comms. The jugs are falling as well, though. Only 79 jugs left, but they are well and truly into the peasant economy. Got to congratulate Duffy on managing to pull this one back. It's pretty impressive for him to have ecoed hard enough to get those 77 jugs by the 25-minute mark. Super
really
impressive.
Intelligent new way to eco people is just be a good bloke, make friends with the right people, and cheat. No, not cheating when it comes to this. This is in the name of fun, of course.
Yeah, these games not the most competitive thing out there, just a good bit of fun for everyone involved. They do get quite intense. We did one recently which was very hard fought on both sides. But unfortunately there are some issues with the replays. Whenever you use a join as command, it renders the replay unusable. So jugs definitely taking over this game, and with 66 jugs left and most of the peasants destroyed, this is looking like a king's win out of nowhere, which is absolutely crazy, considering how peasant favored we all thought this one was.
I think I remember how this went, so it's not the end of the world yet. One powerful pizza sitting in the corner there, making sure that nothing's going down. The radar is up now, so we can't get any scuttles in there or the like.
I don't think there's anyone left to build scuttles.
Only 4 commanders left, and we've got, what's that, 64 jugs.
We've got one heroic Juggernaut heading towards the center to try and snipe that comm.
Low key, unfortunately, not seeing. I think it's their Kagi. No, it's not. That comm going down. 3 left to 1. Commander left. We've got 2 in this bottom corner here, and we've got.
I thought we won this one.
1 here.
I could have sworn that we won this game.
Where's that Kagi going? Oh, the Kagi went down.
Yeah, the Kagi's heading into the enemy base. It's looking for that comm. Question is, can the 3 remaining comms survive long enough? This Kagi can take it out. There is a jug for defense though, so it's not looking overly likely.
There we go. A little bit of fair play. I think the deal was, now that it's over, the deal was that we'll give you jugs, but you're not allowed to win. Because you've lost.
I don't even think there was a deal. I think... Oh, man. That's quite funny. I thought we actually did something to win it, but no, we just got interference from the devs.
Yeah. There you go, deleted.
Let's have a quick look at those stats. The super important metal produced, as we can tell from looking at the metal produced graph, it means absolutely nothing because so many resources were added that we can't see how well the players did in the first 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
but just based on what we saw, yeah, the Kings fell a bit behind right at the start, unable to get those early fusions down, and that trickled through the rest of the game. And
yeah, graph's a little bit pointless, but we can maybe look at the damage dealt. Actually, no, that's kind of fucked up too. That was a great one. Thanks everyone for watching. Once again, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you feel so kind to do so. If not, no problems, but check out our videos, and even more importantly, join Discord and start playing Bar if you haven't got it already. Such a good game. My favorite RTS by far, and what these developers have done for an absolutely free to play game, no catches whatsoever, is just amazing. So get on board.
Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Later.